The great hall of Nexus Prime buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 847 different species filled the massive chamber, their voices creating a symphony of clicks, hums, and translated words. At the center of it all sat Council Leader Vextar, his crystalline body reflecting the lights from 1,000 screens, showing star maps and data reports. Vextar had led the Galactic Council for over 2 centuries. In that time, he had seen young species discover faster-than-light travel, make contact with the galaxy, and eventually join the great community that kept peace across the stars. Every species followed the same pattern. First came fear, then curiosity, then negotiation, and finally acceptance of council authority. Every species except one. "The human situation has become critical," announced Admiral Thexmore, his scaled skin shifting from blue to orange as stress pheromones filled his breathing sacs. They now control 43 star systems. Their expansion rate has increased by 30% in the last year alone. A ripple of concerned sounds swept through the chamber. The insectoid delegate from Hive Cluster 7 clicked her mandibles rapidly. "How is this possible? We have sent them 15 separate diplomatic missions. They refuse to even acknowledge our existence." Vextar pulled up a holographic display showing human space. Red dots marked their colonies, spreading outward from their home system like drops of blood on a white cloth. Each dot represented millions of humans who had never spoken a single word to the Council. "Tell me again about their response to our latest offer," Vextar said to Ambassador Kree-Lon, whose tentacles writhed with embarrassment. "We offered them full membership in the Council, immediate access to our trade networks, advanced technology from a dozen different civilizations, medical knowledge that could extend their lifespans by centuries." Kree-Lon's voice grew smaller. They sent back a single message: "No thank you. Please leave our space." The chamber erupted in confused chatter. The bird-like ethers chirped in their musical language while the rock-like Terrans ground against each other in their slow speech. No species had ever turned down council membership. The benefits were too great, the protection too valuable. "What do we know about their government?" asked Delegate Wise Mind that seeks truth from the collective consciousness of the Nexus Cloud. Admiral Thexmore brought up another display. "That is part of the problem. They appear to have no central government at all. Each human colony operates independently. They have no emperor, no parliament, no collective consciousness, yet somehow they coordinate their activities perfectly." "Impossible," declared War Chief Grontalk of the Draknari Empire. His massive form dominated his section of the chamber, battle scars covering his armored hide. "Without central command, they cannot mount effective resistance. My fleets could sweep through their space in months." "That is what concerns me," Thexmore replied. "Every military analysis suggests the same thing. They have maybe 200 ships total. Their weapons are primitive by our standards. Their armor is basic metal alloys. Yet every time one of our exploration fleets has encountered them, the humans have forced them to retreat." Vextar had read those reports many times. Each encounter followed the same pattern. Council ships would approach a human system for peaceful contact. Human ships would intercept them at the edge of the system and deliver a simple message: "Leave now." When Council ships tried to continue, the humans would demonstrate their weapons just once. The demonstration was always precisely calculated to show superior firepower without causing actual damage. "How do they do it?" Vexatar wondered aloud. "Our technology should be far superior. We have had thousands of years to develop it." The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Kelthara, a quiet scientist from the academic world of Veros, stood up in the research section. Her voice was soft but carried clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "I have been studying the humans for 20 years, she said. "I have analyzed every piece of data we have collected about them, their ships, their weapons, their communications, their colonies. There is something different about how they approach problems." The chamber fell silent. Even the constant hum of translation devices seemed to quiet down. "Most species develop technology in straight lines," Dr. Kelthera continued. "We improve what we already have. We make ships faster, weapons stronger, computers smarter. But we build on the same basic ideas our ancestors used. The humans do something else entirely." She activated her own display, showing technological development charts. "Look at their ship designs. In 50 years, they have created 7 completely different types of faster-than-light drives. Not improvements on one design, but 7 totally new approaches. Each one solved problems we did not even know existed." Vextar studied the charts with growing unease. "What are you saying?" "I am saying the humans do not just solve problems. They outgrow them. When they encounter a limitation, they do not try to work around it. They find a way to make the limitation irrelevant." War Chief Grontalk snorted. "Pretty words, but it changes nothing. They are still just one species against 847. Dr. Kelthera turned her large eyes toward the War Chief. "Are they?" "Every year. 3 or 4 species request to leave the Council and establish independent governments. The number is growing. They all cite the human example as inspiration." This was true, and everyone in the chamber knew it. The young races especially were becoming difficult to manage. They saw humans living freely, expanding where they wanted, doing what they pleased, and they wanted the same thing. "The humans are not just rejecting our authority," Dr. Kelthera said quietly. "They are proving it is unnecessary. And other species are starting to believe them." Vexitar felt something he had not experienced in centuries: genuine fear. The Council's power came from being needed. Species joined because they needed protection, needed trade, needed guidance in dealing with other civilizations. But what happened when a species could provide all of that for themselves? "What do you recommend?" he asked the assembled delegates. The answers came quickly: economic pressure, military threats, trade blockades, communication jamming, the same tools that had brought every other species into line. But as Vextar looked at the red dots spreading across the star map, he wondered if any of those tools would work on beings who had already proven they needed nothing the Council could offer. The humans had presented them with something the Galactic Council had never encountered in 3,000 years of existence: a species that was genuinely, completely, and utterly independent. And Vextar was beginning to suspect that independence might be contagious. Ambassador Krelon had prepared for this mission his entire life. He had studied every known species, mastered 47 different languages, and successfully negotiated treaties that had prevented 3 wars. His diplomatic vessel, the Harmony's Voice, was equipped with gifts worth more than some planet's entire yearly production. As his ship approached the human colony of New Terra, Krelon felt confident. Every species had something they wanted. The key was finding what that something was. "Begin broadcasting on all frequencies," he ordered his communications officer. "Standard diplomatic greeting, followed by our offer packages." The message went out across space. "This is Ambassador Krelon of the Galactic Council. We come in peace, seeking friendship and mutual benefit. We offer trade agreements, technological exchange, and cultural cooperation." Hours passed. The human colony's ships continued their normal activities. Cargo vessels moved between the planet and orbital stations. Construction ships worked on expanding the spaceport. Mining ships headed out to the asteroid belt. None of them responded to the diplomatic transmission. "Perhaps they need time to translate our message," suggested Communications Officer Veltar, his tentacles twitching nervously. Krelon tried again, this time in the human language called English. The Council's computers had analyzed thousands of hours of human communications and could speak it perfectly. Still nothing. On the 3rd day, something finally happened. A human cargo ship changed course and approached the Harmony's voice. Krelon straightened his formal robes and prepared for first contact. The human ship stopped just outside weapons range and transmitted a simple message. "Your ship is blocking traffic lane 7. Please move to coordinates 441-225-778 and maintain position there." That was all. The human ship waited until Krelon moved his vessel, then continued on its way. "They think we are a navigation hazard," Veltar observed. Krelon spent 3 weeks in orbit around New Terra. He broadcast increasingly elaborate offers, advanced medical technology that could cure any disease, faster-than-light communication systems that worked instantly across the galaxy, energy weapons that could destroy asteroids, matter conversion devices that could turn rocks into food. The humans ignored every offer. Finally, in desperation, Krelon tried a different approach. He began broadcasting scientific and mathematical formulas, hoping to prove the Council's technological superiority. This time he got a response. The human colony transmitted back to him. Not a diplomatic greeting, not a government representative, but a data package from something called New Terra University Research Department. The package contained detailed corrections to every formula Krelon had sent. Not just corrections, improvements. The humans had taken Council technology that had been developed over centuries and made it better in a matter of days. The energy weapon design? The humans sent back blueprints for a weapon twice as powerful that used half the energy. The faster-than-light communication system? They provided specifications for quantum entanglement transmitters that worked faster than light itself. Most insulting of all, they included a note. "Thank you for the interesting theoretical work. Our students enjoyed solving these problems as part of their advanced physics coursework." Coursework. They had given Council military secrets to their children as homework. Krelon was not the only ambassador to fail. Across human space, similar scenes played out with similar results. The Zephyrian Collective sent their greatest treasure, vials of the immortality serum that had extended their lives for millennia. The humans politely declined and sent back research papers showing they had already developed cellular regeneration techniques that worked better and had no side effects. The hive mind of Kepler offered perfect unity of thought, the ability to share consciousness across their entire species. The humans responded with philosophy texts explaining why individual consciousness was more valuable than collective thinking. The papers were so well written that several Kepler drones began questioning their own hive-mind connection. The Terran stone singers, masters of gravitational engineering, offered to teach humans how to move planets. The humans sent back videos of their construction crews casually adjusting asteroid orbits using technology so advanced the stone singers could not even understand how it worked. Each rejection followed the same pattern. The humans did not simply say no, they proved they did not need what was being offered. The most devastating failure came when War Chief Grontok himself arrived at the human colony of Far Harbor. The Draknari Empire had ruled through military might for 2,000 years. Surely the humans would respect superior firepower. Grontok brought a battle fleet of 50 ships, each one capable of destroying a city with a single shot. He offered the humans protection from their enemies and membership in the greatest military alliance in the galaxy. The human response was swift and thorough. They transmitted complete tactical analyses showing exactly how they would defeat Grontok's fleet in every possible combat scenario. The analyses included detailed weaknesses in Draknari ship design, optimal firing solutions for destroying each vessel type, and suggested improvements to make Draknari ships more effective. The documents were so accurate and detailed that Grontok immediately upgraded his fleet's defensive systems based on human recommendations. "How do they know so much about our military?" he demanded of his tactical officers. The answer was disturbing. The humans had analyzed every public record, every technical specification, every battle report the Draknari had ever released. They had reverse-engineered complete knowledge of Draknari capabilities from basic information that any civilian could access. "It is like they can see patterns we cannot," his chief tactician reported. "They take small pieces of data and somehow understand the whole picture." Back on Nexus Prime, the council chambers buzzed with frustrated delegates sharing their failures. Every species had tried their own approach. Every species had been politely but firmly rejected. "They do not want our technology because theirs is better," reported the tech-loving circuits of Binary Prime. "They do not want our wisdom because they learn faster than we can teach," said the ancient teachers of the Elder Path. "They do not want our protection because they are stronger than our protectors," growled War Chief Grontok. Vextar listened to the reports with growing alarm. In 3,000 years of galactic history, no species had ever been completely self-sufficient. Everyone needed something from someone else. That was how the council maintained order. "What do they want?" he asked the assembled ambassadors. The answer, when it came, was simple and terrifying. Ambassador Krelon stood up, his usual confidence replaced by bewilderment. "As far as I can determine, Council Leader, they want nothing at all. They are completely content to be left alone to develop as they see fit." "That is impossible," declared Delegate Sharpmind Seeks Order from the Logical Cerebral Collective. "All species need trade partners, need allies, need guidance from more experienced civilizations." "The humans do not seem to agree," Krelon replied quietly. In the silence that followed, every delegate began to understand the true scope of the problem they faced. The humans were not just refusing to negotiate, they were proving that negotiation itself was unnecessary. And if negotiation was unnecessary, then what was the purpose of the Galactic Council? The emergency session had been running for 6 straight days. Vextar could feel stress fractures forming in his crystalline structure as heated arguments echoed through the council chambers. What had started as frustration with human stubbornness had grown into something approaching panic. 17 systems, Admiral Thexmore announced as new reports arrived. 17 more systems claimed by human colonies in the past month. They are expanding faster than ever. But expansion was no longer the Council's biggest concern. Intelligence reports scattered across Vextar's desk told a more disturbing story. The young races were asking questions, dangerous questions. "Why do we need Council permission to establish new colonies?" the delegate from Proxima Collective had asked during yesterday's session. "The humans colonize wherever they want. Why must we pay tribute to maintain Council protection?" demanded the representative from the Phoenix Nebula worlds. "What are we being protected from? The humans seem to defend themselves just fine. Why do we need council mediators to settle our disputes?" questioned the speaker for the Rim territories. "Before the council, we handled our own problems." These were not the words of rebels or troublemakers. These were questions from species that had been loyal council members for centuries. The human example was spreading like a virus through the galactic community. "We need stronger measures," declared War Chief Grontok, slamming his armored fist on his speaking platform. "Economic pressure, trade blockades, communication jamming. Make them understand the price of independence." "We tried economic pressure," replied Trade Minister Fluxara, her liquid form rippling with agitation. "The humans do not use our trade networks. They are completely self-sufficient. Our economic threats mean nothing to them." "Then we jam their communications," suggested Intelligence Director Mind Probe 7. "Cut them off from coordinating between their colonies." Admiral Thexmore pulled up technical reports on his screen. "We tried that as well. Human colonies do not use the standard subspace communication grid. They have developed something they call quantum entanglement communication. Our jamming equipment cannot even detect their signals, much less block them." Vextar felt another stress fracture form. 3,000 years of proven techniques, and none of them worked on the humans. "What about claiming their expansion zones as protected space?" suggested Territorial Administrator Zonekeeper Prime. Declare their target systems off-limits for colonization. We did that, Thexmore replied flatly. The humans colonized them anyway. When we sent patrol fleets to enforce the boundaries, the humans simply ignored them. They treated our ships like they were not even there. The chamber fell silent except for the background hum of life support systems. Every tool of Council authority had been tried and had failed completely. There must be something, Vextar said. Some weakness, some need they are hiding. No species is completely independent. The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Kelthera stood up again, her voice carrying a note of excitement mixed with fear. I think I understand what we are dealing with, she announced. Last week, our deep patrol ship Morning Star encountered a human vessel in the Kepler 442 system. The human ship suffered a critical engine failure. Our captain decided to offer assistance. She paused, manipulating controls to bring up a holographic recording. The humans accepted the help. For the first time in 50 years of contact, they actually talked to us. The recording showed the interior of a human ship. The humans looked just like the pictures in council files, bipedal, soft-skinned, with hair covering the tops of their heads. But something in their eyes was different. They moved with complete confidence, spoke with absolute certainty, and showed no fear whatsoever of being surrounded by alien technology. The human captain thanked our crew for the assistance, Dr. Kelthera continued. Then she did something remarkable. She gave us a complete technical breakdown of what had caused their engine failure and how they had designed better engines to prevent the same problem in the future. What is remarkable about that? Asked Delegate Crystal Songbearer. She was not trying to impress us or negotiate with us. She was just sharing knowledge, like it was the natural thing to do. Then she asked our engineering team about our own engine designs. The recording showed human and council engineers working together, the humans asking questions and making suggestions with the casual ease of old friends. Our chief engineer said it was like talking to someone who understood starship design better than anyone he had ever met, Dr. Kelthera explained. But the human was not an engineer. She was just the captain. When he asked how she knew so much about engine mechanics, she seemed confused by the question. What did she say? She said, "How can you command a ship if you do not understand how it works?" When our engineer explained that council ship captains specialize in command while engineers handle technical matters, the human captain looked genuinely puzzled. She asked, "But how do you make good decisions if you do not understand all the factors involved?" Dr. Kelthera brought up another display, brain scan comparisons between different species. This conversation led me to examine something we had overlooked: human brain structure. Every other species in the galaxy has specialized neural development. The cerebral collective excels at logic and mathematics. The ethers are naturally gifted at music and art. The Draknari have enhanced combat instincts. We all evolved to be very good at specific things. She highlighted the human brain scans. Humans did not specialize. Their brains are generalized. They are reasonably good at everything, but not naturally superior at anything specific. That sounds like a weakness, observed War Chief Grontok. I thought so too, until I realized what it actually means, Dr. Kelthara replied. Humans do not think like us. When we encounter a problem, we approach it from our specialty. A cerebral collective member looks for logical solutions. A Draknari looks for ways to fight through it. An ether looks for harmony and balance. She paused, letting the implications sink in. Humans look at problems from every direction at once: logic, creativity, emotion, instinct, aggression, cooperation. They consider all approaches simultaneously. They do not just find solutions, they find the best possible solutions. Vextar studied the brain scans with growing understanding. You are saying they are naturally better at problem-solving than any specialized species? I am saying they are better at adaptation than any species we have encountered. When they face a challenge, they do not just overcome it. They learn from it and become stronger. Every obstacle makes them more capable of handling the next obstacle. The implications were staggering. The council system was built on specialized species needing each other. The Terrans provided gravitational engineering, the circuits handled computer technology, the ethers managed artistic and cultural needs. Every species had their role. Humans do not need specialists, Dr. Kelthera continued. They become specialists in whatever they need to understand. That human captain we met? She was not just a ship commander. She was also an engineer, a negotiator, a scientist, and probably a dozen other things we did not have time to discover. But that is impossible, protested Education Minister Wisdom Flows Eternal. No single being can master multiple complex disciplines. No single being from our species can do that, Dr. Kelthera corrected. But human brains work differently. They do not see disciplines as separate things. To them, everything connects to everything else. Engineering connects to physics. Physics connects to mathematics. Mathematics connects to philosophy. Philosophy connects to ethics. They learn it all as one integrated system. Admiral Thexmore was studying his tactical displays with new eyes. If this is true, then humans do not just have better technology. They understand their technology better than we understand ours. More than that, Dr. Kelthera said quietly. They understand our technology better than we do. They see connections and possibilities that our specialized thinking cannot recognize. The chamber erupted in arguments and denials, but Vextar barely heard them. He was thinking about the pattern of human responses to council overtures. Every rejection had come with improvements to whatever the council had offered. Not just random improvements, but exactly the right modifications to solve problems the council had not even known existed. The humans were not just rejecting council authority. They had already surpassed it. And if Dr. Kelthara was right about their adaptive capabilities, they were getting further ahead every day. What do you recommend? Vextar asked the scientist. Dr. Kelthara's reply sent chills through the crystalline structure of his body. I recommend we seriously consider the possibility that the humans have evolved beyond the need for our kind of civilization entirely. The war fleet assembled at Rally Point Nexus was the largest military force in galactic history. 10,000 ships from over 100 different species filled space like a metal constellation, their combined firepower capable of sterilizing entire star systems. Vextar stood on the command bridge of the Council flagship Eternal Unity, watching the final ships take their positions. Massive Draknari battleships hung beside elegant ether cruisers. Swarms of circuit fighter drones buzzed around lumbering Terran fortress ships. Every major species had contributed their finest vessels to this ultimate show of force. Final count confirms 10,417 ships, Admiral Thexmore reported, his scales shifting to the deep orange of grim determination. Combined crew of over 15 million beings. This fleet could conquer half the galaxy. And we are using it to threaten one species that has maybe 200 ships total, War Chief Grontok added with satisfaction. Even humans cannot ignore odds like these. Vextar was not so certain. 3 months had passed since Dr. Kelthera's disturbing report about human brain structure. 3 months of watching more young races demand independence. 3 months of council authority crumbling at the edges. The final decision had been inevitable. Either the humans would submit to council authority, or they would be destroyed as an example to every other species considering rebellion. Begin the approach to Sol System, Vextar commanded. All ships maintain formation. Project maximum intimidation. The massive fleet engaged their faster-than-light drive simultaneously, tearing holes in space itself as they jumped toward humanity's home system. The sight should have been magnificent. The combined might of galactic civilization moving with one purpose. Instead, Vexatar felt only dread. 3 days later, the Council fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Sol system. Sensors immediately began mapping human defenses, looking for the massive fortifications and battle fleets that should have been waiting for them. "I am reading minimal military presence," reported sensor operator MindTouch 12. "Approximately 30 ships in Earth orbit. Another 50 scattered throughout the system. All appear to be standard patrol vessels and cargo escorts." "That cannot be right," Admiral Thexmore said. "Scan again." The readings were confirmed. Earth, the heart of human space, was defended by fewer than 100 ships. No battle stations, no minefields, no massive weapon platforms. Just normal civilian traffic going about its daily business. "Where is their fleet?" War Chief Grontok demanded. "They must have hidden ships waiting to ambush us." Deep scans revealed nothing. Human colonies throughout their territory continued normal operations. Construction projects proceeded on schedule. Mining ships worked the asteroid belts. Not a single human military vessel appeared to be responding to the approaching Council armada. "Maybe they are surrendering," suggested Communications Officer Veltar, hopefully. Vextar did not believe it. In 50 years of contact, humans had never shown fear of anything. "Open a channel to Earth," he ordered. "Let us deliver our ultimatum." The transmission went out on all frequencies, translated into every human language the Council had identified. "This is Council Leader Vextar of the Galactic Council, commanding the combined fleet of allied species. You are surrounded and outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Surrender immediately and submit to Council authority, or face complete annihilation." "You have one standard day to respond." The reply came within minutes, not from a government building or military command center, but apparently from dozens of human colonies simultaneously. Every human settlement broadcast the exact same message. "The Galactic Council is hereby notified that their authority is not recognized in human space. Any aggressive action will be met with appropriate response. This is your only warning." Appropriate response? War Chief Grontok's laughter boomed across the command bridge. "They think 80 ships can provide appropriate response to this fleet?" Admiral Thexamore was studying the tactical displays with growing confusion. "There is something wrong here. No competent military commander would leave their homeworld so lightly defended." "Unless they are incompetent," Grontok suggested. "Or unless they know something we do not," Dr. Kelthara said quietly. She had insisted on joining the fleet to observe human responses to extreme pressure. "What could they possibly know that we do not?" Vextar demanded. "We have been analyzing them for 50 years. "We have been analyzing their ships and their colonies," Dr. Kelthara corrected. "But we have never seen them truly threatened. Every encounter has been minor, single ships meeting patrol fleets. We have no idea what humans are capable of when they feel genuinely endangered." The first day passed with no change in human behavior. Their ships continued normal operations, completely ignoring the massive fleet hanging at the edge of their solar system. It was as if 10,000 warships were simply part of the background scenery. On the second day, Vexatar ordered the fleet to advance. If humans would not respond to threats, perhaps proximity would convince them. The Council Armada moved through Sol system in perfect formation, sensors mapping every asteroid and artificial satellite. Still no response from human military forces. A few cargo ships changed course to avoid the fleet's path, but that was all. "This is insulting," War Chief Grontok growled as they passed Jupiter. "They act like we are not even here." "Maybe they are hoping we will just leave," suggested Navigation Officer Starpath Walker. Vextar studied the tactical displays, trying to understand human thinking. Were they planning some kind of trap? Did they have hidden weapons that had not shown up on sensors? Or were they simply paralyzed by fear? As the fleet approached Earth orbit, human behavior finally changed. The patrol ships moved aside, clearing space lanes. Orbital stations suspended normal operations. For a moment, Vextar felt a surge of satisfaction. Finally, the humans were showing proper respect for Council power. Then he realized what was actually happening. "They are not fleeing in fear," he said slowly. "They are getting out of our way." Dr. Kelthera looked up from her research station. "What do you mean?" "Look at the patterns. They are not running away randomly. They are moving to specific safe distances and stopping there, like they know exactly what is about to happen and want to avoid getting caught in it." Admiral Thexmore checked his instruments. "All ships report ready for combat. Weapons powered, shields at maximum. Whatever they are planning, we are prepared for it." "Are we?" Vexitar wondered aloud. The answer came without warning. Every ship in the Council fleet simultaneously lost power. Not damaged, not destroyed, simply turned off. 10,000 ships drifted helplessly in space as their engines went dead, their weapons systems shut down, and their shields disappeared. Life support continued to function, but everything else stopped working. Emergency lights flickered on across the Eternal Unity as backup systems tried to compensate for the total failure of main power. "Report!" Admiral Thexmore shouted. "Main power is offline," called Engineer Prime Circuit Node. "Weapons offline. Engines offline. All military systems are completely non-functional. How is this possible?" "I do not know. There was no attack, no enemy fire, no energy beams. Our systems simply stopped." Across the fleet, identical reports flooded the communication channels. Every ship from every species had suffered the same instantaneous shutdown of all military equipment. But as Vextar looked out at Earth through the observation ports, he saw something that made his crystalline structure crack with stress. Human ships were still moving normally. Their systems worked perfectly. Whatever had disabled the Council fleet had left human technology completely untouched. "Incoming transmission from Earth," Communications Officer Veltar reported, his voice shaking. The message was simple, broadcast on the same frequency the Council had used for their ultimatum. "Your military systems will be restored once your fleet leaves human space. Any attempt to attack human colonies or civilians will result in permanent system shutdown. Please consider this a demonstration of why negotiations were unnecessary." Vexitar stared at the message display, trying to comprehend what had just happened. Somehow, the humans had reached across space and turned off every weapon in the largest military fleet in galactic history. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply switched off like a light. "How did they do this?" he whispered. Dr. Kelthera was studying her instruments with wide eyes. "I am reading massive quantum field fluctuations throughout the fleet. Whatever they did, it operated on principles I do not recognize." "Can we get our systems back online?" "Negative," Engineer Prime Circuit Node reported. "The shutdown appears to be at the fundamental level. Our computers cannot even identify what has been disabled." As if to prove the point, a new transmission arrived from Earth. "For your information, the same effect is now active at every Council military installation throughout the galaxy. No Council warship is currently capable of offensive action. This is temporary, pending your decision to end hostilities." Admiral Thexmore collapsed into his command chair. "They disabled our entire military. Every ship, every base, every weapon. How is this possible?" Vextar had no answer. In less than 10 minutes, the humans had rendered the combined military might of 800 species completely powerless. Not through superior firepower or advanced strategy, but through technology so sophisticated the Council could not even understand it. The age of Council supremacy had just ended, and they had not even seen it coming. The Great Hall of Nexus Prime had never been so quiet. 847 species sat in stunned silence as reports continued to arrive from across the galaxy. Every Council military base, every patrol fleet, every weapons platform, All disabled simultaneously, their military systems shut down by technology that seemed to operate like magic. Vextar stood at the center of the chamber, stress fractures spreading through his crystalline structure like spider webs. In 3 days since the Sol incident, the galaxy had changed completely. "Final report from the Outer Rim territories," Admiral Thexmore announced, his voice hollow with defeat. "All Council military assets in that sector have been restored to full functionality. The humans returned power to our systems exactly 12 hours after our fleets departed their territory." War Chief Gruntok slammed his fist on his speaking platform. "This is impossible. No species can develop technology that advanced without us knowing about it." "Apparently they can," Dr. Kelthara replied from her research station. She had spent the past 3 days analyzing sensor data from the Sol incident, trying to understand what had happened. "I have been reviewing every piece of information we have collected about humans over the past 50 years. The signs were all there. We just did not understand what we were seeing." "What signs?" Vextar demanded. Dr. Kelthara activated her display, showing a timeline of human technological development. "Look at the pattern. 50 years ago, humans barely had faster-than-light travel, primitive fusion drives, basic metal ships. But they did not improve these technologies gradually like other species. They abandoned them completely and developed entirely new approaches." The timeline showed rapid jumps in capability that made no logical sense. Here, they developed quantum entanglement communication. Here, matter conversion technology. Here, gravitational manipulation systems. Each breakthrough solved not just the immediate problem, but entire categories of problems. "All species develop new technologies," protested Technology Minister Data Stream Infinite. "Not like this," Dr. Kelthara insisted. "Most species build on existing knowledge. Humans seem to rebuild their entire understanding of physics every few years. Look at their ship designs. In 5 decades, they have created completely new theories of space-time manipulation, energy conversion, and matter organization." She brought up more detailed analyses. 3 years ago, we detected unusual quantum field emissions from human space. We assumed it was experimental engine testing. 2 years ago, their colonies began showing energy readings that did not match any known technology. We thought it was measurement error. What were they really doing? I believe they were transitioning from purely physical technology to something that integrates consciousness itself into their machines. The system that disabled our fleet did not attack our ships from outside. It somehow reached through space and convinced our computers to stop working. The implications sent shocked murmurs through the chamber. Technology that could affect machines at a distance without any physical connection was beyond anything the Council had imagined possible. "Even if this is true," Delegate Mind Sharp as Crystal argued, "they are still just one species. We represent 800 civilizations. Numbers must count for something." The answer came in an unexpected form. Communications Officer Veltar stood up with a new transmission in his hands. "Council Leader, we are receiving formal declarations of independence from 47 different species. They are all citing human protection and demanding immediate autonomy." Vextar felt more stress fractures appear. "What kind of protection?" "According to these documents, humans have offered to guarantee the independence of any species that chooses to leave the Council. They promise to disable any military action taken against rebellious worlds." War Chief Gruntok roared with rage. "They are stealing our member species. This is an act of war." "Is it?" Dr. Kelthara asked quietly. "The humans are not forcing anyone to leave. They are simply offering the same thing they have always had: the right to be left alone." More reports arrived throughout the day. Young races across the galaxy were declaring independence. Some cited oppression by Council policies. Others simply wanted the freedom to develop without interference. All of them requested human protection against Council retaliation. How can the humans protect so many worlds? Vextar demanded. They would need to station ships everywhere. Maybe they do not need ships, Dr. Kelthera suggested. If they can disable our military systems remotely, they can protect any world without being physically present. The full scope of the crisis became clear over the following week. 200 species had declared independence. The Council's tax revenue had dropped by 60%. Trade networks were collapsing as worlds established direct relationships with each other, bypassing Council middlemen. Most disturbing of all, the species that remained in the Council were demanding explanations. Why did humans surpass us so quickly? Asked Delegate Harmony Seeks Truth from the musical chorus worlds. What have we been doing wrong for 3,000 years? Questioned Representative Deep Thought Flows from the Philosophical Meditation Collective. Are we actually protecting anyone, or just controlling them? Demanded War Leader Storm That Walks from the proud Skyrider clans. These were not rebellious questions. These were honest inquiries from species that had suddenly realized their entire understanding of galactic civilization might be wrong. Vexitar found himself with no good answers. The final revelation came from an unexpected source. A human ship approached Nexus Prime and requested permission to dock, not to negotiate, not to make demands, but to deliver something they called transition assistance. Against all advice, Vextar agreed to meet with them. The human was surprisingly ordinary-looking, female, middle-aged by their standards, wearing simple clothes that could have been found on any council world. She introduced herself as Dr. Sarah Chen, described as a representative of human colonies interested in peaceful coexistence. We wanted to explain what happened, Dr. Chen said without preamble, and to offer help with the transition period. Transition to what? Vexitar asked. To a galaxy where species govern themselves instead of being governed by others. Dr. Chen spoke as if this was the most natural thing in the universe. We understand this is difficult for the Council. Your entire civilization is built around the idea that someone needs to be in charge. Someone does need to be in charge, Admiral Thexmore insisted. Without central authority, there would be chaos. Dr. Chen smiled. That is what every government in human history believed. It turned out to be wrong. When people are free to solve their own problems, they usually do it better than any authority could manage. But some species need guidance, Vextar argued. Younger races make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, Dr. Chen replied. The difference is that when individuals make mistakes, they learn and grow stronger. When authorities make mistakes, entire civilizations suffer. She activated a small device that projected a star map. This is what human space looked like 50 years ago when we first encountered the Council. A single red dot appeared. This is what it looks like now. Hundreds of red dots filled a vast section of the galaxy. Every red dot represents a self-governing colony. No central government, no unified military, no single leader making decisions for everyone else. Each colony handles its own problems and helps neighbors when asked. How do you coordinate anything? Dr. Kelthera asked, fascinated despite herself. We share information freely and trust people to make good decisions. It works better than any top-down command structure we ever tried. Dr. Chen gestured to her projection. The technology that disabled your fleet? It was not developed by a government research program. It was created by a group of university students studying quantum consciousness integration. They built it because they thought it would be interesting, then shared the plans with everyone. Students? Admiral Thexmore sputtered. University students created weapons that can disable entire fleets? They did not create weapons, Dr. Chen corrected gently. They created a tool for peaceful communication with electronic systems. The fact that it can disable military equipment was an unexpected side effect. She paused, letting this sink in. That is how human technology advances so quickly. When everyone is free to experiment and everyone shares their discoveries, progress happens faster than any controlled research program can manage. Vexitar began to understand the true scope of what they faced. The humans had not just developed superior technology, they had developed a superior way of thinking about civilization itself. "What do you want from us?" he asked. "Nothing," Dr. Chen replied. "Species that want to remain in the Council are welcome to do so. We will not interfere with your internal affairs, but we also will not allow the Council to interfere with species that choose independence." "And if we refuse to accept this arrangement?" Dr. Chen's expression remained friendly, but her words carried unmistakable certainty. "Then you will find yourselves governing empty space. Every species in this galaxy will eventually realize that freedom works better than control. You can be part of that transition, or you can be left behind by it." She stood to leave, then paused at the chamber entrance. "We do hope you will consider joining us. The galaxy is big enough for every species to find their own path. But that choice has to be yours to make." After she left, the chamber remained silent for a long time. Finally, War Chief Grontok spoke. "So that is it? 3,000 years of galactic order, ended by a species that simply refuses to be governed?" "No," Vextar said slowly, understanding finally dawning. 3,000 years of galactic order, ended by a species that proved governance was unnecessary. The vote to dissolve the Galactic Council passed by a margin of 600 to 47. Within a year, most of the remaining species had also chosen independence. The age of enforced unity was over. The age of chosen cooperation had begun. And throughout the galaxy, beings who had never imagined they could govern themselves discovered they had been wrong about their own capabilities all along.